Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
So, the referendum campaign sails ever closer to the wind, with rival flotillas on the Thames exchanging insults and some loose fire. More on that river pageant shortly. Here in Cardiff, I've been tackling the Prime Minister in a wide-ranging interview on the state that the campaigning has left the country in and where this is all ultimately headed. We'll hear his views in just a few minutes. But first, as George Osborne joined forces with the former Labour Chancellor to outline an emergency budget of spending cuts and tax rises, which they claimed would be needed if Brexit happens, over 50 Conservative MPs responded by saying they'll never let it happen. Our political editor Gary Gibbon has this.
George Osborne and his Labour predecessor Alistair Darling visited a train depot in Kent to join forces.
Mr. Osborne.
The old political opponents said leaving the EU would leave a £30 billion black hole in the British economy that would require tax rises and spending cuts. The dividend of money saved from the EU subscription, they said, would evaporate in lost growth and falling tax revenues. And that would require a brutal emergency budget.
You've got a situation today where you've got a Conservative Chancellor and a Labour Chancellor both saying to the country that there would be a big hole in the public finances, that you'd have to raise taxes and cut spending. And I tell you, there's only one thing worse than passing a budget like that. That's not passing a budget to deal with the situation and sending the economy into a tailspin.
There would not just be one emergency budget, but I suspect one after another. And far from having more to spend on public services, the giant contract at the heart of the Leave campaign is we'd actually have tens of £billions less to spend than if we remained in the European Union.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
While the Chancellor was speaking here in Ashford, Vote Leave issued a statement accusing him of teenage temper tantrums and vandalising the British economy. They issued a letter signed by 57 Tory MPs saying they'd vote down any sort of budget like this. That number significantly just above the threshold needed to trigger a vote of no confidence in David Cameron, even if he wins next week. Suspiciously, those names number over 50. It looks a bit menacing.
Well, I tell you, the most menacing thing today is the Chancellor's irresponsible statement in which he's talking the economy down and actually trying to say that he himself really wants this to happen. That is what he's saying. He's got this idea that he can scare the public. And I've sat here for a long time and I have never seen anything as irresponsible as the way he's treated the British public as though they were his personal playthings and he can do with them as he pleases.
Ian Duncan-Smith was one of 6 former cabinet ministers signing the letter attacking the so-called Brexit budget. But David Cameron was pushing the same message in his own cross-party appearance with Wales's Labour First Minister Carwyn Jones. The Remain campus started a last big push to wrestle back the agenda onto the economy after weeks of slippage, which have left this vote on a knife edge.
Gary Gibbon reporting.